Comerford.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Hi, Senator.
Attorney General, thank you for your powerful remarks and the excellent work of your office. I also want to say, Rep. Blay and I represent, thank you, Senator, the beautiful Leiden, and you made it out to Leiden, which is very close to Vermont,
Yes.
with more cows than people. And you wowed Franklin County when you came.
I
because
loved being there.
were accessible, and you were exceedingly generous with both your demonstration of your commitment to all of Massachusetts, but also your really incredibly intuitive approach to, a very poor part of our Commonwealth. So thank you. I wanted to talk about solar siting bylaws. It's a departure from my colleagues' questions. So the community of Shutesbury approached, as you know, your office to review a solar siting bylaw, and it's part of a larger conversation in rural Western Massachusetts, where we have a lot of land and we are really open for business in terms of the green revolution, but our communities are so small and so wary of large multinational corporations coming in and potentially taking advantage of them. And Shutesbury approached your office, as you know, and the AGO decided that the bylaw that Shutesbury had put forward was actually not workable. And it led me to wonder, how best can legislators like me, who represent these small communities, work with your team, and to ask you what your team is thinking about. Now, I'll caveat that I think what the Healy-Driscoll administration is doing right now with the Solar Siting Commission and the very thoughtful land use work that they're doing is exemplary too. I think we'll get there, and led by a very thoughtful administration. But until we get there, and while these corporations are approaching these small municipalities and looking to site, and again, I believe Western Massachusetts, I don't hold to the critique that Western Massachusetts is overall NIMBY and we don't want solar. I do think we want solar and battery storage. We just want to figure out how that our small communities are not exploited by large corporations. What is your office thinking about in terms of working with municipalities as they grapple in real time with their own bylaws? And how can we, as I said, work with your office more effectively as the Healy-Driscoll administration leads us to what I believe is intended to be a very fair approach to green energy?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I think it plays into why we even created the new housing unit, because this shows up in that same context, right? We want more housing, we want a certain type of housing, then we get into land use, zoning, and lots of questions coming into Margaret and the municipal law unit team, which is a small and mighty team, frankly. We're all shaking our heads up here. It's a lot. And so I think, right, so but how can we be less reactive and more proactive so that we get to a yes? We don't want anyone taking advantage of our consumers or constituents either. We know we have goals to reach, particularly certain clean energy goals by a certain year. We know solar is one tool to do that. We know municipal aggregation is another tool, competitive electric supply, working in the business context, not in the residential context, but we know it's an effective tool for some constituents and constituencies. And so let's continue this, because I think we don't want to just be an office that says no, right? We want to go back to work with a municipality to figure out how we make it workable to get to a goal. I think we've done that sometimes, even sometimes before it's actually formalized in some way, where people call and ask for advice or guidance or thoughts before they proceed. So let's follow up on that particular piece right there.
That would be terrific.
Unless you're-
Maybe
Yep.
it would look like a workshop for municipalities or something like that, so that
That's right.
you can help interpret what are the parameters that municipalities can operate in within the bounds of current statute.
That's right. And one thing I will add is, obviously you mentioned one municipality, but it comes up, of course, in others. But I don't know that we are communicating at the same time to various municipalities about the same issue they're coming to our office about. So we're happy to convening, and we'll follow up on ways in which to bring various municipalities together to talk about this particular issue and other zoning concerns they might have, and be really explicit as to what they can't do, but also have a conversation on what is possible.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And then provide examples of where it's worked really well in other municipalities. Thank you, Senator.